It's hard to be a teacher in South Carolina.
Things like school safety, a growing student mental health crisis. We've got to address these issues.
Even though it was fake, the emotions are real. The fear that they felt is real.
Good Thursday evening to you. I'm Brian McConchie. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight for a very important conversation about the future of South Carolina. Crisis in the Classroom Town Hall Forum. We have an hour set aside to talk about a number of things, very important issues like funding for education, the state's teacher shortage, and one of the most pressing issues of all that is bound to dominate a lot of our conversations tonight, safety and security in all of our schools. And we've invited quite a diverse panel to be part of this conversation tonight. In this first segment, we welcome Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott, Richland School District 2 Communications Chief Greg Giacchetta, and Westwood High School student leader Luther Bells. We set the tone there with that open about what we've been dealing with. This is not a new issue by any means. Your deputies and law enforcement all across this state respond to school campuses, unfortunately, far more often than you would like. And it is an issue that students like Luther have to face each and every day, and you too, Greg, in a number of states that you've worked now. I think we want to start maybe at the beginning of where the conversation about doing a program like this started. And part of that was in that open we had. Back in October, we had the incident where dozens of schools around this state were targeted by what was a bogus threat, but it created just a hellstorm of things that happened on that day. But the response by law enforcement, in your department in particular, is being praised. But again, not something you want to do.
Right. And it wasn't just so much us being praised, it was the students, the teachers, the staff. The plan that had been put in place worked. And I was so impressed by how the students reacted. They were scared. There was a lot of chaos, but it was organized chaos. So, you know, I applaud the students and the teachers for everything they did that day.
Greg, that was before you got to your.
Correct.
Things have certainly happened since, and that response plan has probably evolved over time since that day. And even now, there's not a day that goes by where you're not dealing with something like this. In fact, when you walked in today, you said there was rumblings of things going on at some of the schools in the district.
We had three things that were investigated today. They were all deemed to be not credible, but it's become a daily occurrence. And it does change. That plan is constantly evaluated, constantly reimagined, because all of a sudden a new set of circumstances come. Last year we had a first grader in Virginia shoot their teacher. Mm-hmm. Elementary schools probably hadn't had that scenario where they looked at it and said, how would an elementary school kid bring a gun to school? But now it's there. And you know, the bigger piece of this too, and Luther can certainly talk to it more about from the student point of view, we're still battling the idea that this isn't a joke. Right, that people think they just say things and it leads to real world consequences and guns being pulled and schools being locked down or evacuated, and it has a lasting impact.
Yeah. Luther, you're a student leader, you're an athlete, you're involved in Boys State, you do so many things. You talk to your fellow students without a doubt, and this has an impact on, I would think, whether or not someone even wants to step foot on campus every day. I'm not wrong, am I?
You're not. Many times when these false and hoaxes they happen, attendance it falls because students, they're either saying I'm going to get my education or I'm going to stay alive, because we don't know if this threat is credible or not, in the sense of we don't know if they're going to act on it. And that reality it's become reality every day. We watch what we see on social media, we watch what we hear our peers say, but we take everything with a grain of salt because it could be true. Every situation there was warning signs, and we are trying to see if those are warning signs or this is just a daily joke, which is not funny.
No, not at all. And Greg, you as a district administrators have to monitor social media.
You do. And you know, the sheriff will tell you that students are the best eyes and ears that you have, and many a times that's how it starts. Like this morning, somebody saw something that quickly was investigated, deemed to be not credible, but it really becomes part of your workday. And when you talk later about a teacher shortage, you know, how about this being your place of employment every day where you have the same feelings that Luther just described?
Yeah. Well, you always say this about everybody, not only schools, eyes and ears out in the community. And you have plans in place, but you don't want to be on campus. You don't want to have to intervene. So how do you even zero in on who could be responsible? How do we stop it from happening even?
Well, our best defense is Luther
Yeah.
and other students. You know, we're talking about students who are making bad decisions, but think of the thousands who go to school every day that we don't hear about, who just go to school to get an education. That's our best defense. They're the ones who know what's going on. They're the ones who actually police the schools themselves. So that relationship that we build with them through our SROs and through the teachers and the staff at school, you know, that's how we find if there's a gun on campus. That's how we find out if there's a threat, because the students don't want it there. So they come tell us. So we need to, you know, emphasize that more. Trust these students. They're going to help us. And so, no, we don't want to be there every day, but we're going to respond appropriately. And I think after the October incident, we did sit down and discuss, okay, you know, let's make sure that we don't evacuate when we don't need to. You know, let's don't reward someone for calling in a bomb threat. Let's don't, you know, send them all home. They need to be in school. And so I think that message has got out. And the other message is that we're going to catch you. If you do this, we're going to catch you. And you're not going home to mom and daddy. You're going to have to sit in jail for a while. This is serious business.
It is very much a serious business. So much so that not long ago the district generated a public service announcement about this that was distributed to students, to parents. You were involved in the production of that. And I want to give our viewers who maybe aren't familiar with it just a piece of that to give them an idea of what the message that was being sent from your administrators in a very well-produced piece. If you would just play that for a moment.
There is no place in our schools for threats.
There is no place in our schools for fights.
There is no place in our schools for knives.
There's no place in our school for guns.
We do not want to go through another lockdown, another evacuation.
Another school.
Another school. Another school.
Another school.
Turned into the site of another
national tragedy.
And I think that's pretty.
Get you one or two places, get you in jail or the cemetery. And we have to do a better job educating our kids about that, our young people, not to pick that gun up. And I think that's where we're lacking is that education. We do teach math and English and all that. We need to teach some life skills too, like guns. Don't touch them. And we try to do that, but it's a hard job, but it's something we all need to do. And it starts at the home, and then it just goes out through the whole community, which includes our schools. You know, schools need to be teaching that also.
Mm-hmm. To hear Luther talk about the concerns that he as a teenager has that we probably never thought of. The worst thing that could have happened when we were in high school is that there was going to be a fist fight or a big fist fight, 10, 12 people involved in it. You never dreamed that a weapon would be involved of any type.
Well, and Brian, you saw the PSA we ran 2 weeks ago. We had a pop-up metal detector at one of our high schools,
Correct.
And a student walked a loaded gun through it. Right? I mean,
right through something they knew was going to pick it up.
Right, which that's kind of the heart of the issue too, decision making.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that system that you have in Richland too, the pop-up metal detector system.
Sure. 3 days a week, they're out at random schools, and it's random as to where they go. Our security team shows up, sets it up in the morning. That day, unannounced. The administration knows the night before so they can staff it. And it's a deterrent. I mean, part of it is the idea that if you were to walk up and see the lines of students waiting to go through, but if you had a weapon on you, that you would choose not to bring the weapon that day. And just as much as catching the weapon, that's the goal. We don't want the weapon in the school that day.
Yep. Yep. And there's another security protocol you're putting in place too that hasn't yet been rolled out.
Correct.
But you have it with you
I do.
tonight. That's going district-wide.
I do. We showed it off at one of our schools last week. It's called Crisis Alert. It's a badge that is literally on the back, and you push that button 3 times. You can do what's a medical alert to the school, and the school staff will respond. If you hit that button 8 times, it will vibrate. It will put the school into a lockdown alert. Audio sirens, computer screens will go off, flashing lights will go off, and most importantly, it calls 911.
Yeah.
And it alerts all district staff that there's a lockdown going in exactly which room it's in.
Okay.
And that saves seconds. Seconds count. And
Absolutely.
that system will help us quickly respond. And that's what we need to do, is get to that emergency situation as fast as we can.
And I would like to say, like, just the need of having such technology, the 2 things that they have to put in place, it shows the state of where we're at. It's no longer a joke. It's a common occurrence. It shouldn't be happening. I'm pretty sure other places, other countries, they don't have this issue, but it just shows how severe it is. Like you mentioned, when you all went to school, it was a fist fight. I'm going to school, it's, oh, somebody brought a gun. And those two don't equivalent. Like,
No,
when you got in a fist fight, yeah, you might be bruised up, hurt, but you can go home. But when there's a gun involved, that scenario gets a little dark.
Very dark indeed. But the system you're putting in place with the push button, is that being used elsewhere in other places, and maybe you're using it as a model? And did you also collaborate, I would assume, with the district?
Yeah,
on
it's being used nationwide. We're the first district in South Carolina to get it.
Okay.
I believe Richland 1 is right behind us, so the two neighboring districts will both have it. But the system's proven itself in other states where, say, a teacher after hours is in a classroom and has a medical episode, falls behind a desk. You would never find that person. But this gives them the ability to do it. The other part would be like at a football practice in the fall, if a player's having a medical issue on a field, the teacher/coach can push the button even from outside on the athletic field, and medical help comes that much faster. We hope not to have to use the lockdown feature, right? I mean, that's worst case scenario, you put things in place, but it's just another layer of security that you can say you have done everything that's possible to keep students safe.
Yeah. When you meet with administrators, even your board of trustees, they have to address these issues. They have to talk about them in an open forum. When you hope that they could just be talking about how we're going to teach young men and young women like Luther, but this dominates the conversation probably now more than ever.
Oh, absolutely. And it's tied to all the other issues. When you say crisis in the classroom, I'll ask you which one, because the safety conversation directly becomes a recruitment and retention issue as well.
Yeah, this shoots off in a lot of different directions, without a doubt. And has it gotten worse from your perspective after we came out of lockdown and went back to class, when kids were out of school for a good year in that organized setting?
I think so. I think that contributed to a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But it's just the world we live in now. You know, before Luther was born, when they were building schools, we wanted open campuses. Now it's totally the opposite. And so we have to change with the times. And, you know, we see mass shootings throughout the United States, just about anywhere you go. You know, 30 years ago, you'd never heard of something like that. So now that's the world we live in. So we have to adapt to it. The security systems, you know, working with our young people, these are things we have to do, because, you know, if you're not safe at school, you're not safe anywhere.
No.
Parents live in that fear. Luther and the students live in that fear. So we got to do all we can to make them feel safe when they go to school.
Yeah.
And there's a line too, right? There's a line between where you feel safe and where you feel you've built a prison. Right?
Yeah.
And our school board has been very cognizant of that as we're having conversations, because it keeps coming up, why not have metal detectors full time? We've had a lot of conversations around that. And that also becomes that issue of, well, you would have to be like an airport where the campus is locked 24/7 and there's one way in and one way out. From a staffing point of view, that's almost impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, it virtually is. You're a big part of this equation in helping, and so will the students that come after you when you've gone on to college next year. I think you feel how important that is. Do you think more of your, I guess, fellow classmates need to take that burden on and understand what's going on? And how can you as a young person help them with that?
Honestly, a lot of my classmates feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's just the idea of how do we get our point across. I mean, there's a common stigma as students, as the youth, that we're just students, we're the youth. But in all reality, we're an aspect of society as well. Without us as students, how can we become adults? How can we become in the position that these three gentlemen are in today? If we're physically can't get there because our lives are in stake, I mean, we can't level up, we can't get to the next point in our life. But I think this experience will definitely impact my generation, not just in the sense of high school, but in societal and psychological ways in the future as well. I mean, 30, 40 years now when we're adults, hopefully this is swept under the rug, this is gone, this issue is gone. But the impact, it will stain us. Yeah. And it will guide us, and it will help us hopefully make better decisions so that we can prevent this from ever happening again.
Yeah, excellent. We'll give you the last word in this segment, Luther. Thank you so much. Very impressive words that you have, for sure. I'm going to ask you two gentlemen to stick and stay, but we're going to go to break right now. We're going to invite Representative Jermaine Johnson into this conversation and talk.
There is nothing more important than keeping our students and teachers safe. We are entrusted with the lives of children every day, and so I'm so proud of the work that the governor and the General Assembly are doing to ensure that we have a school resource officer in every single school. I am so grateful for our law enforcement and the incredibly quick response time.
Welcome back to our Crisis in the Classroom Town Hall Forum about South Carolina schools. Right now, as you just heard, the South Carolina Superintendent of Education, Ellen Weaver, addressing safety and security, something we talked about for the first 15 minutes of this program. We're going to continue that conversation now. We've invited now in Representative Jermaine Johnson, a Democrat from Richland County, and she was addressing the budgeting, the state budget, which is in flux still at this moment. This is why we bring you in at this point. She addressed the fact that, hey, we're going to raise salaries. That's just one part of it, though. Our educators say that, and I know you do too.
Right. And we can't just keep throwing money at a problem. And I think that's what we're good at here. So we like to throw money at a problem, but then when you look at the holistic approach to everything, we're going to make guns more readily available with some of these bills that we're trying to pass at the State House. We're trying to pass, permitless carry, constitutional carry right now. That's not going to help retain or keep our instructors, so we have to really look at this thing all together. We can't just keep saying, hey, we know your life is in danger and it's increasing every day, so we're going to give you a few more dollars here next year or this year after that, and then we're allowing some of these counties to even suffer because they don't have the money to pay our teachers more.
You heard the superintendent talk about school resource officer in every school. That's important to you, for sure.
We have 102 school resource officers. I have more school resource officers than most people have police officers in their department. That's a priority to us, and it's always been a priority. And working with the three school districts we have in Richland County has been great because they understand that safety's got to come first. So it's been a coordinated effort to make sure we keep our schools safe. But having that school resource officer on campus all the time, we don't know how many incidents that's stopped from happening. We'll never know that, but I know it has. Somebody's going to do something in a school and they pull up and they see a marked police car and know there's a deputy there. That's going to make them turn around and go somewhere else.
Yeah. In the first segment, Greg, you talked about you've got to walk a line still, though, and the sheriff would agree with that, as it seems, that you don't want to put so much in place that it doesn't feel like you're going to school anymore. That's a problem as well. And Representative Johnson, I guess we'll ask this: as you look at some of the things that are going on, the phony threats, the actual actions that happen on our campuses around the state where weapons are showing up on campus, do you think more needs to be done from a penalty level, something that at the State House where you could draft stricter laws even? Is that the right answer?
Yeah, well, I think some of it is, and I absolutely have already drafted some legislation that would increase some of these penalties because there's some things in our current law right now that have zero penalty to it, and it defaults to a misdemeanor or a slap on the wrist type of thing for somebody who's doing one of these hoax things. So, we've got to do more. We've got to review our laws. We've got to see if there actually are penalties that are already there, and we've got to make sure that the penalty fits the crime. And I think that's something that I would like to work with my sheriff's department on to make sure that we are addressing these issues that we have.
Yeah. You've made it clear. If you do something, we're going to come get you.
We're going to come get you. And I'm going to go back to school resource officers. We don't call them cops in school. The school resource officers. They do so much more than just provide security, building relationships with the kids. And I'll go back to Luther, who was here in the first segment. It's good kids like that we build great relationships with, who help us, who keep that school safe. And we have to keep emphasizing that. We got so many more good kids than we do those who stumble and fall.
Yeah. And he's your eyes and ears too, as a district administrator. Yeah.
The other piece of this is mental health, right? Since COVID, I can tell you by looking at discipline data, we've seen a spike in incidents. You can debate what caused it, but that's kind of where we're at. Intervention specialists in our district, there's always a need for more. Try to have a child go see a mental health professional. It's tough to get in, right? So as we're looking at things from the 36,000 foot view, that's an important piece too.
Yeah, and there's talk of more funding for that aspect of all this as all of you folks at the State House try to craft a spending plan.
Right. And it's one of the things that I actually introduced the last session was trying to have all of our school districts to have a partnership or a relationship with a mental health provider, to address some of these issues. A lot of our kids, they spent 2-3 years, on lockdown, and they didn't develop the social skills, the conflict resolution evolution stuff. They didn't develop any of that stuff. You can't, and we're all guilty of it. We can see in a text message, you see somebody put something in capital letters, that means you're yelling at me, or it's hard to decipher some of these things that are out there. So our young people who still have developing minds, they don't know how to they don't know how to decipher some of this stuff that's out there. So we're trying to get more mental health stuff in the schools, but then we still have the shortage right now. We don't have enough providers in the state. We don't have enough beds that are in the state. We don't have enough facilities in the state. We're in a crisis right now. We're in a situation where we need to figure out how to solve all of these issues that are coming across us now.
Our world is changing. That's what we're hearing here, not only tonight, but we've been hearing that for quite some time. How does a school district address that from even a policy level on the local level?
Well, when you're looking at discipline policies, obviously you're working through that. And you also have to remember, at the end of the day, these are kids, right? They're going to make mistakes. They're designed to make mistakes. The brains aren't fully developed yet, right? So there has to be a little bit of a leniency to that. There has to be a teaching component to it, but there also has to be a swift consequence. And so we constantly try to evaluate that, and we want kids to be in school, right? If we suspend a kid or send them to an alternative placement for 30 days, that doesn't necessarily fix the problem all the time, right? Or they end up in that same washout where they keep going through it. So there's a lot of levels to that.
Yeah. That's a good point that you make there, that you don't want to throw a 14-year-old in jail. You don't want to have to do it. It depends on the severity of what's going on. Is that right?
Yeah, but you got to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
To me, that's the key, is hold them accountable and turn it into a learning opportunity for them. We've all made mistakes. Everybody here tonight's made a mistake, but we didn't let it penalize us for the rest of our lives. And so we have to balance that. Hold them accountable, but let them learn from it and don't penalize them for the rest of their lives, to keep them from getting a good education and good jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Education is such a big part of our lives. It is so important, and you've seen it in your time at the State House, it only gets a fraction of the pie in terms of funding.
Yes.
But again, the answer isn't throwing a bunch more money at it, but doing it strategically.
Well, we need to equitably fund all of our school districts and across the state. We've passed policy in the past years that have affected school districts to be able to serve the students. We've got this big thing going on across the state now where we talk about Act 388, where we talk about repealing it or what it did to different school districts across the state. And we have issues where some of these smaller counties, they just don't have the tax base. So if they don't have the tax base to fund these schools, and then we have issues where we have these big companies coming in and they do a fee in lieu of, so they're not paying taxes into the school system. So we have all these issues that are going around where these schools aren't getting the funding that they should get if they were in a bigger county or a more progressive county or a county that's that's growing up. What are we going to do with those schools that are suffering, these rural communities that just don't have the funding to do things, that have the older material, the older equipment? They don't have the stuff, they don't have the staff, nobody wants to move there. What do we do about those places like that? So we can throw funding, we can throw money at the situation, but who wants to move to one of these counties where they're just being overlooked? And we have to figure out how to fix that problem.
Yeah. And one of those issues is the safety and security component of this, where you want people to come, to be there. When you talk to administrators, what is the chief concern? Is it this? Is it the changing landscape of the students and what could possibly happen on campus?
Well, it's all of it. I mean, if you're trying to manage a school and a staff and the students that are going on inside of it, all of it becomes part of a factor to it. And we have this phrase where you just get comfortable doing hard things, right? It's always going to be hard. Education has always been hard. Educators, administrators are incredible, the hours they put in, the amount of time they put in, being creative just to get through the workday. When you're in a teacher shortage or an employee shortage, right? I mean, we're short across the board. And then you have maternity leaves, you have sick calls, right? So just managing what you have every day, and then the unknown.
You pointed out that your resource officers aren't only there as a law enforcement component. They teach, they talk to kids, they mentor.
They do.
That's an important part of what they do. So they too are an educator. Right. And how important is it that these young people do trust and maybe have those important conversations with them?
And they do. They trust them. They build such a great relationships with them because they're there with them all day. They're in the lunchrooms with them. They're on the athletic fields with them. They build that relationship and they develop that trust. And that goes a long ways. But our schools are just a reflection of what goes on in the community. And we can't overlook that. So if we've got issues in the community, then that's going to be issues in the schools. So that's why our school resource officers pay attention, not only what's going on in the school, but what's going on in the surrounding areas. So we can address it and get in front of it. That's one of the big keys, is get in front of problems before they grow into something real big.
Not every county is as fortunate as Richland County to have as many student resource officers or school resource officers in every single school. How big of a battle was it for you to make that happen?
It wasn't a battle at all.
You just made it.
We just made it as a priority, and I think that's one thing that we've seen that they're doing at the State House now, is they've made it a priority to have a school resource officer in all the schools, and they're funding it. They're putting the money into it, and that's what it takes. And so I think that's going to have a big positive impact on safety throughout all of South Carolina, not just in Richland County, but these other counties who don't have the money to be able to fund a school resource officer. The state's going to do that. The state's putting money in it. So, I appreciate how much that our representative and the senators and the governor's doing, is to put the money there where it needs to go, safety in our schools.
Yeah. When you were elected, did you ever imagine that this would dominate as much of your time, dealing with situations in the schools?
So I did not, but I ran to represent young people, and that's the reason why I got involved. Before I was elected, I was a Richland County Recreation Commissioner. So I worked very closely with young kids, in the parks with the young kids, and I'm talking to the kids. And I realized and I recognized that schooling now is just different than what it was when we all came up. Social media is just dominating everything. It's dominating their everyday of their life. Back in the day when we went to school, we had a problem. We went home, we could turn it off, because we didn't have social media like that. We just didn't see it until the next day we went back to school. But now it's when they go home, it's just social media. They see it, the day is never over with. And they can't avoid the bullies. They can't avoid the taunting. They can't avoid that stuff. So it's just creating much more of a problem. And I knew that this stuff was coming just with the progression of technology and how things was going to happen. So I've always been out there trying to talk to these young kids and mentor them and help them to understand where we are going as a society, but also to give them somebody to look at so that they can replicate, which is why I invite the young kids to the State House all the time. I just had some 10-year-olds come to the State House today so I can recognize them for what they're doing and tell them how amazing they're doing with their basketball skills and what they've done. So, I think we need to have more of that. I think our leaders need to invest a little bit more in our young people, not just with money, but with time, because time is something that they'll never, you can never get back. That's the most expensive thing you can give out there. And that's just one of the things that I really pride myself on.
Social media is still somewhat of a lawless land and probably will be for quite some time, but what people see there, we've said has to be taken seriously. What are the things you see that immediately send up the alert that we've got to step in here?
Well, you can almost tell immediately on a social media post, if somebody's putting it where everybody can see it, that means it's really not real. Because if somebody's really going to do something, they're going to keep it secret, or it's going to be a very small group. So we can tell very quickly if it's real or not. And then somebody writes something on the bathroom wall that they're going to be a shooting at the school. Well, no, that's not going to happen. But again, it creates that fear, so we have to address that fear that's there, because it's real. And so we have to make sure that the kids and the parents and the teachers, everybody at the schools, know that we're there to protect them. And we're not going to overreact, but we're not going to underreact either.
You have different levels in the district for how those situations are handled. Do you feel comfortable explaining how those work? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're really down to two, which is we go to a secure status. If there's something going on that is, as the sheriff says, it's something that appears not credible out of the gate, we're going to give them time to investigate. We'll go into a secure status, which means teaching and learning still goes on. Students just aren't outside. If you hear that we've gone to a lockdown, that's something that's elevated. It's escalated, and we're moving in. And it's alarming how often we come in and out of a secure status, right? And obviously if there was a device or something, and then there would be an evacuation, but that's a very limited case where that should happen. But the other piece to this is there's a disconnect with students between the real world and social media, right? I can't tell you how many times we've seen cases where, I was just joking, or I was just talking to my friends, and it's like, no, you put that out there,
sure,
right? And so that's one of those very painful lessons. But there's a parent piece to this as well. I was in a meeting about a month ago with our Teachers of the Year. All the Teachers of the Year come together, and I sat with them and I said, what's the biggest communication issue that I can help you get out? And they said, it's parents having kids prepared when they show up, right? Some of them show up, they haven't eaten, they're not ready for the day, they're dealing with personal situations at home that the idea of learning isn't even open to them. And all of that just snowballs into what the teacher then has to deal with on top of making sure everybody's safe and getting into the lesson plan. And that's a newer phenomenon.
Yeah, certainly is. Sheriff Lott, thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate you coming. We always appreciate your voice. We're going to shift our focus in our next segment. We're going to talk about the teacher shortage. We're going to talk about retention. We're going to talk about some of those funding issues. So we'll also have Representative Johnson come back in a different segment, because we're going to invite next Sherry East from the South Carolina Education.
Well, I am so excited that the General Assembly has prioritized raising teacher pay. That is, of course, something very important to our teachers, to make sure that we provide them with a wage that they can live with for the hard work that they do.
Welcome back to this Town Hall Forum, Crisis in the Classroom. We're focusing on school issues here in South Carolina. The first two segments focusing on safety and security. You just heard from the Superintendent of Education there, Ellen Weaver, talking about teacher pay, the importance of the work that they do each and every day. We've introduced some new voices now to the panel. Dean Tommy Hodges from the University of South Carolina.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Sherry East, who we've had on before from the South Carolina Education Association. Teacher pay came up, even in the discussion about safety and security.
Yes.
About being a factor in so many different things. You study this. There's even more studies to come in September. I know you said, I believe is when you
Correct.
said there's some new data coming out. When you look at some of the facts and figures, how important is that salary component to keeping our teachers?
Yeah, we certainly know that salary is an important part of teachers' decision making around staying in the profession, but it's not number one. It's usually on national data, and on some of our state level data, we know that it's probably 5 or 6. But what we do know is that teachers who choose to leave the profession rank salary as the number one reason that would bring them back in. So salary is an important component to teacher retention and teacher recruitment. I again would applaud the legislature's efforts to try and increase beginning teacher pay, but it's only one component of developing a robust teacher workforce.
Sure, there's so many that goes into this. In your district right now, what's a snapshot of number of openings?
This week we're around 160 openings. For next year we projected to be north of 300.
Wow. That's a big figure. That's a big figure. Statewide, the numbers vary depending on which source you look at, but depending on what you have, it's well over 1,000.
Yeah, the report that we saw that came out it was 1,400 is what we started with in August, and alarming amount, 800 more left between August and February. So 800 people, for whatever reasons, left their job between August and February, decided this is not either enough money or it's the working conditions. As Tommy said, we've polled our people, like, why, what's going on? And it's not so much the pay, it's the workload, what you're asking them to do for that amount of pay. And so they're not willing to do that anymore.
How much, in your conversations, how much does what we talked about in the first two segments play into it from your perspective?
Right up there at the top.
Yeah.
We've heard student discipline around. We heard about the phones, the bullying, the security. I had a teacher call out one year when we all have a kit now, and you should have the kit in case you have a shooting in your classroom. You have a kit, a triage kit, and you have a tourniquet, and you have tampons to clog up a gunshot wound. And this teacher called me just hysterically crying. She can't do it anymore. I'm a music teacher. I teach music all day. I am not a nurse. I am not the police. I don't know how to treat a gunshot wound, Sherry. I'm just done. And so that was her tipping point, where if this is what I have to do every day, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm here to teach children music. I'm not here to bandage them up. And so that was it for her. I mean, that was her crisis that day, which all stemmed from everything you talked about here. It wasn't the pay, but it was what you're asking me to do for that amount of money, I'm not willing to do anymore. So they leave and they find something else where they're not doing all the things that we're asking teachers to do right now.
Yeah, we have to teach our young people. There's no way around that. And you have a lot of programs at the university focused on these particular issues, building the bucket, as you said, of a workforce. And how hard is it from the research you see?
Well, one of the analogies we use is talks about that bucket.
Yeah.
And so we talk about a robust teacher workforce being a bucket that's completely filled. And so one of the approaches that we take to try and fill that bucket is we open up that faucet a little wider, and that's on the recruitment end and try and recruit more people in. And we've got a wide array of programs. We've got traditional programs that in fact have grown by 77%. So we still see a very robust interest in education professions. We also have an alternative preparation program that allows career changers to come into the profession without leaving their local communities. It's a grow your own style program. We'll be launching a residency designed to that program this summer. So that brings folks into the profession, but also if you've got leaking holes in the bottom of the bucket, then no matter how far you turn open that faucet, you're not going to really be able to develop that robust workforce. And so we have a program called the Carolina Teacher Induction Program, which follows teachers into the first 3 years in the profession. We've supported well over 300 teachers now and has a retention rate close to 97% in the field. So it says that you can gain a lot of traction with keeping teachers in the workforce if you provide that level of support to them in their first 3 years. So, despite challenges, there's an awful lot of good, an awful lot of interest, and an awful lot of teachers that are well equipped to be able to support the students like the one that we had on the panel earlier this evening.
Yeah, excellent young man, without a doubt. And how many students do you graduate a year?
Right around 300 or so students that we have at the University of South Carolina.
Okay, and they quickly feed into the system because, as you said, you're going to have well over 300 by the end of the year.
Right, and if we get them as student teachers, we're trying to make sure they never leave.
Yeah. Is that the challenge too? Making sure they never leave and maybe go to another state.
Absolutely, and we send recruiting and to other states to try to bring their folks into South Carolina. And when you don't have comparable pay or you don't have comparable working conditions, and one of the things we fought for a long time was a duty-free lunch. Most states around us, elementary teachers aren't used to doing lunch duty. They get that time off to go to the teacher's lounge to take care of personal business and to eat their lunch alone or with their colleagues. That's one of the things South Carolina didn't have. So we're very excited that the legislature finally passed that. It'll be implemented next school year. So our elementary teachers are very excited that they will, for the first time ever, get to have lunch with their colleagues because that's just one of the things that we hear from people that move here from out of state. I went to heat up my lunch and they told me, wait, come back, you eat with the children. And now they were shocked. They're like, what do you mean I eat with children? I don't get a break all day? And they didn't. So that's one of the things that we heard a big concern was their time. Like we were using their planning time for meetings, for data meetings, for team meetings, for AP meetings. So when you would get your work done during the day, which is time set aside, you didn't have that anymore. Or when you would normally have a break because you took your kids to art or music or PE, we don't have those teachers anymore. We doubled them up so you didn't have a break. So unless the teachers were doing work before school, after school, or on the weekends, just can't get their job done.
Yeah.
And so they weren't willing to give up their time with their family anymore. They found other options. They went into corporate America so they could be better moms and better family.
We certainly have more openings than we would like, not only here in South Carolina, but other states, countrywide as well. But we talked before we went on the air, and you said it's not as dire as maybe we think. It's a challenge, but maybe not as dire.
Well, we look at vacancies, and I think vacancies count positions, but if you follow people, depending on school and area, we're keeping anywhere from high 70s to mid 80s percent retention across different districts and different contexts. But there's a number of things that we know that matter. So high poverty schools have lower teacher retention rates than low poverty schools. Teachers that have more novice administrators have lower retention rates than those that don't. That's particularly true in elementary and middle level schools. So, earlier you talked a little bit about funding formulas and so forth and how you fund particular initiatives. South Carolina is not a monolith. It's not all one enterprise. It doesn't have a uniform set of needs. And so I think an intelligent approach is to look at the resources that are available to improve the education systems and target those in particular areas that we know are drivers for teacher retention. Mm-hmm. We've done a little bit of that work in our SC Teacher Center. That's a educator workforce research center that we house at the University of South Carolina.
So again, the numbers we look at, it's not necessarily maybe teachers leaving the profession. They may be just going out. They could be going to another district. They could be going to another state.
Right. So some of the research that we've done would suggest that about 43% of the teachers that are leaving their positions are leaving to engage in what we might refer to as lateral movement. So one teaching position to another, from one district to another. It varies by different study, but we've asked the teachers directly what their plans are once they're leaving the classroom. And again, almost half of them indicate some sort of lateral movement. That has some real HR cost associated with it, but it's certainly materially different than a teacher choosing to leave the profession altogether.
Yeah, I saw you nodding when you said the HR
absolutely.
costs, yeah.
And then there's another branch to this. We have international teachers. Because we can't fill our classrooms, last year I believe we had 50, we're projecting over 60 from around the world, that we're literally getting teachers to come over. Just there's a benefit to that too, obviously. There's a cultural component that your students get exposed to things, but there's a lot of different scenarios we're using to try to fill the gap.
Go ahead, speaking on that, we have about 1,000, I think, statewide of international teachers, and at best they're here 2 to 3 years. So you're going to have that constant turnover with them. It's meant to be a cultural exchange, more or less. It's not really meant to fill the gap in your teaching shortage. So in some states we're seeing right now they're not going to renew the visas. Got a call from Florida actually that they're not going to renew some of the visas, and said, hey, will South Carolina take your teachers? And I've talked to the State Department like, we may have a group of teachers that may want to, move up to South Carolina. What can we do about that? So while we embrace them, and they need to have a whole nother level of mentoring that they need also. They come here from other countries and they're not used to American culture, American education, so they take a little more time that you have to work with them than you would a USC graduate that comes in that's been prepared and went to school here in America. So on top of the 1,400, you have another 1,000 that are kind of filling in right now. In districts, and we see them mainly in our rural districts. We see them in our hard to staff areas in our state. So there's where you have turnover completely. And I think if you looked at this like a football team, if you're always turning over your starters and you're never getting depth to your bench, you're never going to get the results that you would with a team that you're training your people up. You've got 2 or 3 strings of people that know your plays, they know your plan, you have a consistent administrator. We're not seeing that in the schools because you're losing your principals, you're losing your teachers. So you're always in this train your new people mode. You're never into moving into the next level of teaching or moving into new projects or getting a deeper understanding of something, because you're always training your new teachers to come in. Yep. Even when they move districts too, they might be veterans, but they've got to learn what was it like to teach in Lexington versus Richland. And our teachers are shopping around right now. They're looking at things like class size. They're looking at the pay. They're looking at the step increases. If I teach in Charleston now, I'm going to go out to step 40. If I teach in Jasper, it ends at 23. So if I were a teacher and I could drive into one of these districts and I'm an older teacher, I'm looking to my retirement years, like which place can I go that I'm going to make more money to be able to retire. So teachers are looking around. They are moving around to see, right now Berkeley County just announced a $5,000 incentive pay if you would sign on, extra $2,500 for special ed teachers. That's not chump change. I mean, that's something to look at. If I was considering moving into Charleston or Somerville, I would look into that.
It goes into the decision making.
And our school board a couple weeks ago added a $3,000 incentive for new teachers.
And Richland too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to find as many creative ways as possible to address this. Greg Turquetta, thank you so much for your perspective throughout these first 3 segments. And we're going to continue, though, this conversation. We're going to invite Representative Jermaine Johnson back to our panel to finish out our final segment on the teacher shortage here in South Carolina. Welcome back to our Town Hall special about education here in South Carolina. We've tried to squeeze in as much as we can into this hour format, but we could do multiple shows on this topic. We want to keep talking about the teacher shortage in the state of South Carolina and some of the issues that they face each and every day that change by the moment. We've invited our State Representative Jermaine Johnson back into this conversation to talk about maybe some solutions from the legislative level. Working conditions have come up during the conversation without a doubt. They are important in every job that we have. In your research, it certainly has to come up about the importance.
Yeah, absolutely. And the General Assembly, thank you, supported funding to be able to carry out a statewide survey that looks at teacher working conditions, that compares it to be able to compare it to other states as well. So it's a national instrument that we're leveraging for use in South Carolina. That report will be out here probably in around a month and a half, that will really detail what those working conditions are like. We'll be able to generate reports for districts so they can unpack those as well. And the plan right now is to re-implement that survey in 2 years, and in the intermediate time be able to engage in professional development experiences that can help address any gaps that districts see in their data.
Yeah, we want solutions, Representative Johnson. You want solutions. You said that this is why you do what you do. This is why you got into the legislative arm of all of this, to improve these conditions for everybody so we can keep doing good things.
Right. You know, and I've done tours of different schools and different school districts across this state, you know, not just my own, because I want to see where we are as an entire state and know if we're headed in the right direction, you know. And I personally have taken some of the ideas that I've seen in other places. I've taken them back to my school district down here, and I've talked to leadership to see how we can implement things. And we are doing some fantastic things down in the Lower Richland community. I mean, we're doing some great things with horticulture. We're doing some fantastic things with cosmetology. We're doing some things with CDL driving. I've talked to the Ports Authority, and they're doing a new pilot program where they're bringing in younger drivers to train them and get them on and things like that. So we are doing some good things. Obviously we want to do more, but we do need to do a better job at highlighting the good stuff that we do have coming out in this state, because we do have some good things. And if we highlight that, then I think we could do a better job at retaining and recruiting our professionals.
Teachers make such a difference. I can sit here and remember every single one of them that made some type of imprint on me over the years in every single grade that I came up in, whether it was a music teacher, a phys ed teacher. I can remember their names, I can remember their voices, everything about them. There are good things going on, and you made an excellent point. Yes, this is called Crisis in the Classroom because we are dealing with some issues we prefer we not, but there's good stuff going on. We want people to teach in our classrooms.
We absolutely do, and we need everybody to come together on this. We need the parents to work with the teachers, to work with the legislators, to work with higher ed, to make sure that our children are taken care of. And I've often said, is it good for children? Is what we're doing good for children? And if it's not, then we need to quit doing it. And we need to figure out what is good for children, because they're the future. And our educators have the most powerful job in the world. That, you mentioned your teachers. You've had the ones that made you feel great, and you had the ones like, oh, I did, you dreaded going to. So, we're all human. Day to day, it could change. So I think we lose sight of that sometimes, but we definitely have seen some division in the world, since COVID, and we need to really, I think, put that behind us and work together to make sure our schools, our public schools here in South Carolina, are doing what they need to do and have the resources to do what they need to do, whether you live in Greenville or Jasper or you're here in Richland. We need to make sure that the resources are there for every child to be successful, and so that teachers are not working 2 jobs. We heard that a lot too, that I would have more time to donate to my class if I wasn't working at a restaurant as soon as I leave school. We've heard that with our student teachers. They're in college and learning how to be a teacher, and sometimes working too to pay their bills. So I think there's a lot of good creative things out there that we can do, but we always need to be child-centered and child-focused.
We do know that about 20% of teachers who are leaving the profession have some sort of second employment, so they're moonlighting in addition to that. So that only extends workplace stress when you're having to make ends meet by engaging in other kinds of employment too.
Dean Hodges, you said something very refreshing in the previous segment, though. You said you don't see the interest waning from young people coming into the university. This is what they want to do. Yeah.
There is a narrative that exists that there's diminishing interest in education professions. We're not seeing it, and I think some of the other schools in the state are not seeing it as well. Our freshman class this past fall was up 77%. Early numbers on a fall 2023 suggest that we're going to have a similar size class again this fall. So there's a robust interest in education professions. I think if we can continue to highlight the positive impact, like the teachers that influenced you, influenced me, I think that there's going to continue to be that kind of interest, and we have to provide, it's our responsibility in higher education to provide a number of different salient pathways into the profession so that people can see themselves and have viable pathways into it. At cost-effective ways. And so I think that's our responsibility, but I think it's our collective responsibility to showcase some of these good things as well.
My 5th grade teacher, Paul Donnelly, whenever somebody doubted themselves, I remember him always saying, I know you can do it because I believe in you. He would say that to every student. I remember that. But that kind of mantra fits what you're trying to do at the State House, what you're trying to do at the university, what you're trying to do with your lobbying work and helping educators. It has to be a team effort. It has to be. And it's difficult at times, though, isn't it, Sherry?
It absolutely is, but I think it's refreshing to hear all the good things that, we lose sight of that sometimes because it's easier to feed into the negative because you just do. But there are plenty of teachers that are doing fabulous. Like every teacher out there is doing fabulous things, and so we need to really highlight that. 94% of the children in South Carolina go to public schools. I mean, that's a huge number that are dependent on us every day to show up and make sure that they're taken care of every day. I laugh at some professions. Teachers will often go to school sick because it's just easier to go sick than do a lesson plan and to find a sub. It's not like if you decide to call in sick or you call in sick, you don't have 20 little bodies that have to be taken care of. So it's not like just a normal sick day for any other professional. So we laugh that, oh yeah, teachers, you've got people depending on you every day to be there. So, and the teachers that have stayed, they stick it out for the kids, but at some point I think it's become, I can't do it. It's that guilty, I can't do it anymore. I'm putting myself first right now, so I've decided to leave the profession, which is unfortunate.
It is. Representative Johnson, we have about a minute or so left, maybe about 45 seconds. Final word from you on the work that you hope to continue doing at the State House.
Yeah, so a couple of months ago, I shared a video on my social media, on my Twitter, where there was a young boy who was choking on a bottle cap, and he was running around the classroom, and the teacher, she just went into action. I mean, she didn't care about the money or the race or anything about this young kid. She just wanted to save this kid's life, and she performed the Heimlich maneuver on him to save his life. And that watching that video just brought me to tears, because I was saying, like, why can't we just see this for our teachers, for our state? Why can't we just understand that our teachers are worth their weight in gold? We have to give them the respect that they deserve. We have to give them the support that they need and deserve, and we've got to treat them all fairly. And we got to do it right now, because we are in a crisis and we need them more now than ever.
All right. I think that's a suitable way to end this conversation. I wish we could do it for another hour. Thank you, Dean Tommy Hodges from the University of South Carolina. Thank you so much for your input tonight.
Thank you.
Sherry East from South Carolina Education Association. As always, we appreciate the work you do in each and every day as a teacher yourself. And Representative Jermaine Johnson, keep up the good work that you've been doing for quite some time, and I know you're not going to stop. And thank all of you for joining us tonight for this discussion about education here in South Carolina. It's an important one. We wish we had a couple more hours, but trust me, we're going to touch on this subject again in the